Great to talk to you and have you on the program, because I would love to get your thoughts on circling back to that fraud in Minnesota. You're leading the charge demanding answers from Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. How is the GOP oversight planning to get to the bottom of this, and how long will that take? Because there just seems to be one scandal after another with this.
Yeah, Edie, thanks for having me. And let me just tell you that the Oversight Committee, we're going to have to bring in Tim Walz. We're going to have to bring in some of his adjutants and have them come in and sit down and answer questions. We're going to have to get hold of records that they have. And we're going to have to do what the Oversight Committee does. We conduct these investigations, and then we make our referrals over to the executive branch because they have police power. And I don't want to sound prejudiced or biased at the start of this thing, but I mean, this is incredible. And to watch that compelling video that Nick put out there, Nick Shirley, yeah. I find myself saying, wait a second. I mean, he's going there and there's no kids there. There's nobody there. And he's interviewing people and they're saying, no, I haven't seen kids here in 8 years. And I will just tell you, Edie, this is, when they say it's the tip of the iceberg, this is only one program and it's in one state and they're talking billions of dollars. And I invite Nick to come to my state, because I can tell you this. A report came out a few months ago saying $1.2 billion here has been wasted. Another report says up to $6 billion in Medicaid fraud. You know, this is the type of thing where you just say, that is why you get yourself into massive national debt. You have a structural deficit that can't be closed. It's because people are grifting so much everywhere.
But it also has exposed a different issue with some of the people who reported. They were the whistleblowers. They reported, hey, we think there's fraud going on. Here are the loopholes. Here's how we think that people are taking money, taxpayer money, incorrectly. Nobody wanted to hear it. Instead, they were called racist. And then you have, it seems like the governor in Minnesota and the lieutenant governor kind of doubling down on it. Oh, you're attacking our Somali community. Oh, and like, what, 88% of the people involved in this scandal come from the same area? You know, you do tend to make some generalizations. And, but again, they said because it was called racist, everybody turns a blind eye. And they just don't want to be called names. And you just said, you're going to call me names. But that's really it. People kind of get, shamed into not doing what is clear they should be doing, regardless of skin color, regardless of where you come from.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, and it's become such a defense mechanism for the left to use ad hominem attacks like racist, like Nazi, to anybody who exposes their hypocrisy, their corruption, their fraud in this instance. And it isn't race. It just happens to be that in this instance, it's largely taking place in the Somali community of Minneapolis, St. Paul. But it could be a bunch of Caucasian dudes doing it down in Phoenix with Medicaid fraud. The point is, if there's fraud, if there's waste, or there's abuse, we have to root it out. And in the meantime, we also have to protect the whistleblowers. And that is, if we find out that the state government of Minnesota has not protected their whistleblowers, that is a problem as well. And by the way, the feds need to do a better job protecting our whistleblowers as well.
Yeah, and and another issue I think that people have brought up is if there are people in a community that have come to our country, have been welcomed in with open arms, have become naturalized citizens, and then are caught up in this fraud investigation and are found to be guilty of these crimes, should they remain American citizens, or should we start taking away citizenship rights?
Well, nobody has the permanent right to come into our country and claim citizenship at the same time they're trying to defraud our nation. And my opinion is, if we find out that you've been here, first of all, if you're here illegally, you need to go. If you're here and you've tried to obtain wealth by fraud and defrauding the American taxpayer, then we have to seriously consider whether you should be removed from the state as well. In other words, if we find out that somehow you've become a charge to the government and you did it through fraudulent means, then you violated and committed fraud in your immigration application.
Yeah, and it seems we had a lot of people that came in and said, thank you for inviting me, now hand over your wallet. That is the sad case. Thank you so much for joining us, Congressman Andy Biggs. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Edie.